Hey guys, welcome back to Barry's Corner. It's Emily here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys all the books that I've read recently. Okay, first off, I know that I've been in a little hiatus and things have changed, like my hair color, I'm now a redhead. And also I've got a cat, and the reason I mention this is because she will be being crazy in the background, so if you hear anything, it is my cat. But anyway, I know that I've been on a little hiatus recently, and it's not because I don't love doing this, and it's not because I've been off traveling, it's because I've been focused on school. Like, it is so taxing. Like, I'm working my butt off right now. And I do have a lot of videos pre-filmed, so if you see me like with different hair color, if you see me with different nails, if you see me in a different location, it is because I have a lot of videos pre-filmed, but the issue is editing them while I'm in school. Like, currently it's finals week and I'm doing this video right now. Like, what am I doing? But let's just get on to the books because I know that was a long intro. So this is basically going to be like a September, October, November wrap up. But the first one I read after the last video I made, go watch my August wrap up, is The Mistake by Elle Kennedy. I read the first book in this series called The Deal. They're all companion novels and I didn't love it. I gave it a 3 stars out of 5, but I don't know. I read the back of this book and it just called to me. So basically it's about this guy named John Logan, and he is a junior, I believe, and he's a player. He can get any girl he wants. He has this little run-in with this girl named Grace, who is a freshman, and he kind of makes a little mistake, kind of pushes her away, and so the next year he's like, no, I'm gonna prove to her that like she's the girl that I want, that we'd be great together. And Grace, sophomore year Grace, is like, I'm not the girl that I once was. She was kind of innocent freshman year, which I really enjoyed that aspect because, I don't know, I just want to see some innocence in some romances. But anyway, going into this, I was a little hesitant. Like, again, I did not like The Deal, but I really wanted a hockey romance. And guys, it was really great. Like, I gave it a 4 to 5 stars, not the best, but still really, really good. I love John Logan. Like, I truly did love his personality. He was so funny. And I also like the mistake that he did wasn't like so bad that like she couldn't have taken him back. I also was a little surprised because it doesn't just take place after the event that he met her at. I feel like I'm really confusing right now. Okay, what I'm trying to say is, in the book, basically it shows you when they met before, like their little relationship, then the mistake, and then it cuts to next year. And that's 2/3 of the book. What I thought it was gonna be was like, maybe that was like 1/3 of the book and then the rest was him trying to get her back, but it's not. And it just like the different timing of everything actually caught me by surprise, but I actually ended up enjoying it. I love John Logan, I love Grace, I love her innocence, but then her also like spunkiness her sophomore year. I just felt like everything flowed and I really liked them as a couple, and I'm definitely gonna be continuing on with the series. Guys, forgive me if I forget some of these because it's been a while. The next book that I read was Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. This book has been literally everywhere and I bought it right away, didn't even know what it was about. And when I read it, I was honestly greatly and deeply surprised and happy. So basically this is about a girl named Persephone, and a decade ago, for years, she went to this lake house with her family, and next door there were a couple of boys that she made friends with, one she fell in love with, and it was basically just her life on this lake house. It kind of goes back and forth between then and today because now she doesn't even speak to them. It's almost a decade later where she made a mistake. A decade later from when she made a mistake, and it is one of the guys, Sam Florek's mother's funeral. So she's going back. She's kind of doesn't really know what she's gonna get into because again she made a mistake, and let me tell you, this is The Summer I Turned Pretty plus Love in Other Words combined, and those are, I love it. The only thing I didn't love about this book was when we found out what the mistake was, I was like, girly, that mistake was a little too much of a mistake. Like, I'm mad at her. Like, why did she do that? Like, why? I know she was young and naive, and if you've read this book, like, maybe you can just like overlook it. And I have to because I love the book so much. The writing is phenomenal, the story, the plot, the scenery. Oh my gosh, the scenery. So I gave like a 4.8 out of 5. Like, I know that's such an obscure, like, why 4.8? But trust me, like, this book, obsessed. I forgot to tell you guys that when I say that I had no time in my like busy schedule, I meant that I had no time, so all I read was adult romances. The next one was Undercover Bromance by Alyssa K. Adams. This is a second companion novel in like the Bromance book club series. Basically, this is about a girl named Liv, and in the first book, we just followed this one guy's perspective. And so Liv is the sister of the love interest in the first book, and then it also switches perspective between Braden Mack and Liv, and Braden Mack is a friend of the first guy in the first book's perspective. What am I saying? I can't. So basically what I'm saying is that they're all connected in some way. Okay, that's what I'm saying. And Liv is a sous chef for this really high-end restaurant, but the boss kind of like is, you know, an SA person. Like he very much abuses his power. She quits or gets fired, and then Braden Mack hosts or like is the owner of all of these restaurant bar scenes. And they go together to kind of solve this crime of him taking advantage of women. I am so disappointed in this book. Like when I say that I did not love this book as much as the first one I gave it 5 out of 5. It was so good. This one I did not love as much at all. Honestly, the bromance book club part of this whole thing, which is where these guys go together to read this book, it was just not good in this book. It felt like the author was like putting it at random parts just to keep that element alive, but that element wasn't even needed. Honestly, the main character was kind of annoying, Liv, I'm talking about. And honestly, I just did not like this book. I didn't like the writing, I didn't like the setting, I didn't like the plot. And the thing is, like, I know SA is such a sensitive topic and we definitely need more stories that like talk about it, but I don't know. Not in this way. I didn't like this book, and it kind of made me not want to continue the series. But maybe I will, maybe I won't. Let's see. Next up is a Colleen Hoover book, November 9 by Colleen Hoover. Everybody's been telling me to read this book, so I finally did, and it's basically about a girl named Fallon, and she meets this guy named Ben the day before that she's going to New York from LA. She wants a change of scenery, and she also wants to be an actor, but that was always her big dream before she was burned. She's a burn survivor because her house went up in flames. And she meets this guy named Ben before she goes, and basically every year they're like, let's meet up on November 9th and like let's have this like little fun romance, and they set goals for each other, and it's really great. There's a couple of plot twists in here that I found really realistic and really crazy and weird and made me want to cry. Like, I did tear up in this book. There's also a cameo of Tate and Miles from Ugly Love, so if you wanted to see that, it wasn't my favorite part. I also didn't love Ugly Love, so maybe that's why I didn't love it in this book. But I loved Ben and Fallon together. Absolutely adored. I loved the way, like, every year, like, it just felt like no time had passed. I don't know, they changed so much and we got to see them change, but at the same time still stay the same, and their love for each other stay the same. I feel like I can't talk enough about how this book, like, really just like hit me in the feels, hit me in the heart. One of my top favorite Colleen Hoover books. Next up is The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. Guys, I read so many popular books this like couple of months. So The Fine Print, basically it follows this guy named Rowan, and he is in the business of creating fairy tales. Somebody in his family died who was the owner of Dreamland. I think it's his grandfather. And basically him and his brothers get tasked with something to do before they can like own a part of the company. And his was to be like a Dreamland creator and like oversee all of that. Now, Zara is actually, she works in Dreamland and she works in like the hairstyle department, but she has a knack for creating, so he brings her onto the team, and it is like, he's so into her. Now, I'm gonna be honest and say this book wasn't the best. Like, it wasn't great. Like, it definitely wasn't the best adult romance, but just the connection between these two, and like I couldn't put it down. Like, this is kind of a thick book, but it was so fast-paced and so fun. It gives you the feels. Like, I just smile whenever I think of it. Okay, we're almost to the end. I'm gonna try to be quick. The next book that I read was It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. If you know me in this series, I read Hook, Line, and Sinker before I read this book and was like, oh, didn't know it was a companion novel, so like, let me read this one. I read it. It's about Piper Bellinger, whatever. She's fashionable, influential, and basically she's like a prissy princess, and her stepfather's like, you know what, you're gonna go to this little town where your biological father once lived, and you're gonna learn how to like be a better person, be independent, be on your own. And she's basically with her sister. Her sister went with her, Hannah, and they're redoing their father's old bar, and it is so fun. She meets this guy named Brendan, who is the sea captain of a ship, and it is so freaking good. He's kind of reserved. He was married previously, so there's like a lot of, you know, trauma with him. I love this series. I love this duology. I love this companion novel series. It is so good. I love Piper. Like, I thought I wasn't gonna like her as much as Hannah because she is so prissy, and like, just like, I can't deal with that as the main character. And honestly, when I started, I felt like I couldn't deal with it. Like, I could not deal with her in the beginning, but as the series went on, like, I just really enjoyed her. I think I gave this book like a 4.9 or like really high. Guys, I cannot remember, but like it was really high. And because of the cameos, I actually read Hook, Line, and Sinker next. I don't have Hook, Line, and Sinker with me, so basically that book is about Hannah, her sister, and she is she's like in the production industry. She wants to make the scores and the music for the movies, but for right now she's just working as an assistant, and she's like in love with like the producer Sergio, and she convinces Sergio to move his movie set to this little Westport place that she finds Fox, which is where her sister is also, and that's where this takes place. So she finds Fox, and the reason I wanted to read Hook, Line, and Sinker was because I saw a little bit of Hannah and Fox and how they were connecting in this book, and it literally made me so giddy and so happy. Like, I'm so happy that I read Hook, Line, and Sinker first, because like I just saw their connection and I loved it so much. They are a different breed. Like, I truly like Hannah and Fox over Piper and Brendan, but like I do really love them. That's why I gave Hook, Line, and Sinker a 5 out of 5 stars. Fox is a player and he has this kind of reputation about him, and so he feels like he has to like live up to this reputation, and just how he feels about Hannah is so sweet, and how the whole book just goes on. It's so fast-paced, so fun. The tension and the romance is there, the spice is there, just how Hannah is in general. I love her. She's such a sweetheart. But these books are automatic rereads for me, like love them so much. Next up are 2 books from Sarah Adams. I actually bought When in Rome, and I was like, hey, I read the cheat sheet, honestly, I think in January, and I was like, time to read it again, because I just wanna, I don't know, I love this book so much. This book is about a girl named Brie Camden, who is a ballerina, and she is in love with her longtime best friend, Nathan, who is a football player. He's in the NFL, baby, and basically this book is a dual point of view, both mutually pining from the beginning, both secretly in love with each other since they were like in high school type of book. Their chemistry, their friendship, just he's so soft for her. I love it so much. Like, their chemistry is like no other. The main character, I feel like, is very much just not like other girl vibe. She mentions it a lot, how she's not like other girls, so if you don't like that trope, don't read it. But like, I don't really mind that trope, and I kind of loved it. This book is definitely like a 4 out of 5 stars. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars when I first read it. Like, it's not a literature masterpiece by any means, but just the feelings it gives me, like, I will forever reread this book. I will forever love this book. I can't, like, I just love it. So, When in Rome by Sarah Adams. I was very excited after the cheat sheet. I will say I really thoroughly enjoyed the cheat sheet more than When in Rome. This is more of like a fade to black romance, so if you're looking for that, this is the one. It's still adult romance. It basically follows this girl named Amelia Rose, and she is a pop star, and she kind of wants to escape from that life. Her car breaks down in front of this guy's house, and basically Noah Walker finds himself in a position to help this girl, but he's also very tainted because the one girl that actually went through his town before he fell in love, she broke his heart, and he's like, not doing that again. It's very much an annoyance to lovers. I feel like because of that, it was very like, I feel like Sarah Adams writes friendship and like secretly pining to lovers better than like annoyance to lovers. And I will say that it's very wholesome, but it definitely isn't my favorite. It's not an automatic reread like some of these others are. But if you really like the Fade to Black and you really like small town romance and you really just like some wholesome romance, this is it for you. I think I gave it a 4 stars. Next up, I reread It Ends With Us and read It Starts With Us, guys. Okay, I have a little bit of a controversial opinion. As I said, I reread It Starts With Us, and it follows a girl named Lily who moves to Boston, meets a neurosurgeon, starts dating her. It kind of goes back and forth between, well, like not back and forth, but she reads these letters of what she wrote when she was little. Like, it's basically a diary format, so it kind of goes back and forth between those timelines, sort of. And then her old love comes back into the picture, Atlas, and this book is about romance, and it does have spice, you know, but it mostly talks about abuse and domestic abuse and just like the result of that. And oh my god, I love this book. 5 out of 5 stars. I did realize that after reading it the second time that it will literally never be as it was when I read it the first time. This is a book that I just wish I could have read for the first time again, because like the shock factor wasn't there. I was already not liking somebody or not rooting for somebody. Like in the beginning of the book, like I'm so rooting for Ryle to the point like I just loved him. Like I really loved him. This time, like I'm like, okay, whatever. Like I know that he's like a shitty guy. So like, you know, Kitty, can you please stop? I'm filming right now. Well, if you hear playing in the background, she's just gonna be playing with a little rapper, okay? So it's still a 5 out of 5 stars, but I just didn't love it as much as the first time. Not because it wasn't amazing, the writing was amazing, but I just like, I wished I could read it again for the first time. Then I read It Starts With Us, and this follows Lily, Atlas, and then Ryle in their whole relationship thing right after the last book ended. So immediately right after. And I'm not gonna say that this book isn't worth it, because if you're really looking for more Lily and Atlas, because I felt like I didn't get enough of Lily and Atlas in the last book, it's worth it to see their love story and how it progresses. But this book wasn't needed like whatsoever. It really wasn't. It wasn't like some new story. It wasn't crazy. There's some new characters that are introduced, such as Atlas's friends, but then also like new people in Atlas's life. And I don't know, like it was just kind of randomly placed, but also like I enjoyed it. I think I gave it a 3.75 stars. It was fine. It wasn't needed. You get to see more of how annoying Ryle is and like whatever. I do like the awareness that Colleen Hoover is bringing about abuse. And I did really like to see more of Lily and Atlas, but like it wasn't like a needed story. It was just there. The last book for this video, because I will be making another video because this was just way too long, but The American Roommate Experiment by Elena Armas. This is a girl that wrote The Spanish Love Deception, and I gave The Spanish Love Deception a 4 to 5 stars, and I gave this one, I believe, 4 to 5 stars as well. They're actually companion novels. So this follows a girl named Rosie, who is a friend to the first book, Catalina, in the first book. And Rosie is having some trouble with her job. She actually quit, and now she's a novel writer. And she also just had some trouble with her apartment. So she goes into Rosie's apartment when she's gone on her honeymoon, and she finds, did I say Rosie? She goes into Catalina's apartment when she's gone on her honeymoon, and she finds Catalina's cousin, Lucas, and was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I did not realize that she gave this apartment to you while she was gone. And he was like, oh yeah, no, don't worry, we can live together, and blah, blah, blah. And she basically is having some trouble writing her novel, and Lucas is like, you know what, like, let me just fake date you so that you can just have, like, you know, some inspiration for your novel. And of course, like, he's like into her, she's into him. It's just really good. You also get dual point of view. You do get more of her perspective though. I enjoyed this book. What I will say is that it is like literally so extremely different from The Spanish Love Deception. The writing is the same, and Rosie is so sweet and so lovable, and I really like her as a main character, and I actually really enjoy Lucas. I don't like him as much as the love interest in the first book though. I like them together. I think it's like a cute friends to fake, you know, dating to lovers type of trope. I don't think I loved it as much as the first book. It's still a 4 stars. It's just different, and like that's the only way I can describe it. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I definitely liked, again, the first one more than this one, but like if you really like the friends to lovers aspect, I think this one's definitely a good, you know, pick up. So those were all the books that I've read in the past couple of months. Well, not all of them, but about half of them. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I'm so sorry for the long wait. I'm so sorry that this video was long. I just read so much. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching me, staying here. And please subscribe, comment down below, do whatever you want to do. And goodbye.